Are you in the position of needing to sell a deceased family member's estate? If this is the position you are in, we will cover many of the common, frequently asked questions, FAQs, that people have when dealing with an estate sale. First off, we understand this can be a very difficult and stressful time, but rest assured, you will get through this. Our goal is to provide you with some information and resources that will help you to navigate through this process and make the best decisions for you and your situation. Quick disclaimer, we are not attorneys, accountants, or financial advisors. Disclosure, we are an investment company that has helped many of our clients in similar situations. We understand that every situation is different, but if you're watching this, most likely your parents or perhaps a sibling, relative, or even a close friend have passed away and their property needs to be sold, and this responsibility has landed in your lap. You may be asking yourself, what now? In this quick video, we will look at some of the aspects of selling a deceased estate property for a deceased persons and give you some things to consider about the property disposition process. The person legally responsible for the sale of the property or multiple properties of a deceased person is the executor or executrix. An estate administrator is the person who handles the estate if the deceased has not left a last will and testament. Can an administrator of an estate sell property? Only if the probate court formally appoints him or her to have that authority over the estate assets. For this video example, we will assume you are the estate executor or executrix and the deceased are your parents. Selling estate property. As the executor, what do you do? As the executor, it is your job to resolve debts and disperse assets that belong to your parents. There are other tasks as well, including selling real estate, which is what we're focusing on this video training, removing the contents of safety deposit boxes, closing out bank accounts, making sure taxes are satisfied, paying outstanding bills, dealing with investment portfolios, and clearing out personal belongings. In summary of the slides up to this point, selling a property and distributing assets among beneficiaries are the two main tasks that people most often associate with the role of an executor. Selling estate property. What is probate and what does it have to do with you? Probate is a term for a legal, court-supervised process that ensures two things. Number one, the proper and fair settlement of an estate's debts. And number two, the proper and fair distribution of an estate's assets. As the executor of your parents' estate, you must cooperate with the probate process unless the estate is exempt from probate because a transfer of death deed is in place or the estate is in a living trust. More on that in the next section. Selling real estate that is in probate differs from selling one's own property because of court-imposed requirements, such as having the property appraised by a licensed appraiser to establish the property's value on the death date of the deceased, and there are other factors as well, but that's just one of them. So selling estate property, your first step, find out the status of the estate. Your first and most immediate important task as an executor is to find out the status of the estate. Did they file a last will and testament with the probate court? Probate files are public court records, so in most cases, you can retrieve a copy online for free. If you can't get it for free, you can at least see which estate documents have been filed and confirm who the named executor is. If your parents left a will and it has not been filed with the probate court, file it within 30 days of their date of death. Even if their estate is small, file the will. Not filing can result in unwanted legal surprises down the road. The court will have a say in how and when you sell your parents' house during the probate period. It can be very helpful to have a probate attorney on board to help you navigate probate legalities and comply with the probate timeline. How to avoid the probate process. The first way to avoid the probate process is if the type of deed on the home is a transfer on death deed, also called a beneficiary deed. This type of deed allows the ownership of the home to transfer to the executor directly and immediately. Not all states acknowledge this kind of deed, and laws governing them also vary from state to state. Secondly, if your parents' property passes to you through their living trust, it does not have to go through probate. The purpose of a living trust is to streamline the process of managing and settling the estate by bypassing probate and providing for the house's or property's immediate sale. Selling estate property. Step 2, meet with beneficiaries. As an executor, you have matters to attend to other than the sale of your parents' property. However, for this overview, we're just looking at selling a property after the death of parents. An early sit-down with the beneficiaries will help identify expectations, establish who is doing what, and what the end scenario will look like. Clarifying expectations will help avoid misunderstandings and conflicts later on. When you meet together, try to decide upon these things: who will go through the house and dispose of its contents, in keeping with your parents' wishes as expressed in their will if they left one; who will manage repairs and improvements in preparation for the home sale; who will pay for repairs and improvements, will the estate pay; who will research listing with the realtor versus selling as is to an investor. Either way, look for an agent or an investor with experience with probate real estate sales; who will get the property appraised and decide how much it is worth; who will be the decision maker in accepting an offer; how proceeds from the sale will be split; about selling deceased property taxes. Don't forget about these. Also, find out how long do you have to sell a property after someone dies. The probate schedule will document this timeline. When asking the question, how long does an executor have to sell a property, you can also draw on the knowledge of your probate attorney. Selling estate property. Step 3, be aware of taxes on an estate home sale. When you sell your parents' home and receive proceeds from the sale, the government will count the profits as income and tax you accordingly. These taxes are considered capital gains and estate taxes, and they can be substantial. Of course, consult your accountant or tax professional to find out what your tax liability will be. Estate taxes and inheritance taxes. Estate taxes are imposed by the federal government on the total value of an estate. They are paid by the estate before any distributions are made to beneficiaries. Laws governing estate taxes vary from year to year and affects tax brackets differently. Estate taxes are calculated on the gross estate, which includes the fair market value of all properties the deceased person owned when they died. Inheritance taxes are levied by state governments on money or property inherited from a deceased person. With this kind of tax, the beneficiary must pay the tax, not the estate. It is important to note that not all states impose inheritance or estate taxes. Once again, we suggest you consult your accountant or tax professional to find out what your tax liability will be for your particular situation. Selling estate property. Step 4, find an experienced realtor or investor. Selling your parents' property after death is more complicated than selling your parents' property before death, and you need to find a local expert who has handled the sale of inherited properties before. Do your research and find an experienced realtor or investor. If there is more than one beneficiary, include them in the realtor or investor interviewing and selection process. Here are some important details about the home that your realtor or investor may need to find in order to proceed with the sale. Details on an existing mortgage, who is the lender that owns the mortgage, how the mortgage has been paid, auto draft, check, etc. Other important documents include death certificates, mortgage payment records, insurance policies, reverse mortgage statements, property tax records, homeowners association records. Selling estate property. Step 5, get the house ready to sell. Or maybe not. But first, remember, if the house is in probate, remember to consult your probate attorney to ensure you don't miss any important dates on the probate timeline for selling the property. Time may be of the essence. And also confirm that you have court approval for selling the property, because in some states, probate courts require executors to inventory all property before anything is given to heirs. So that being said, one of the first steps is to empty the house. The first task is to consult with the will, if there is one, to see which items your parents bequeathed to specific individuals. Those items can be distributed. Next, important household furnishings and meaningful possessions should be divided up among heirs. This may not be a simple process and could require the services of a mediator or estate sale specialist. Once all meaningful possessions have been distributed, the rest of the house contents can be sold or even given away. You may wish to handle the sale of items yourself or hire an estate sale company. Does all of this sound overwhelming? That's probably because it is very overwhelming. Selling an inherited property can be a painful and emotional experience, especially when layered with grief over the loss of loved ones. Taking the traditional route to a home sale, meaning selling through a realtor, can feel overwhelming. That's why many heirs decide to shortcut the process and sell the inherited home directly to an investor. Many people find that selling to an investor eliminates the need to do any repairs or improvements to the property, reduces negotiating offers, and waiting for a deal to finalize. And most importantly, with an experienced investor, you can sell their property quickly in its as-is condition. Houston Capital Home Buyers is a local house buying investment company based in Sugar Land, Texas. But believe it or not, we actually help with estate properties across the country, so in virtually any state and any market within the U.S. And yes, we buy houses as is and work a lot with individuals that are in charge of handling an estate sale. When I say we buy houses as is, this means no repairs or improvements are necessary for selling the house. And we mean that. No repairs are necessary. And anything you don't want to keep, you can leave it. You don't even have to remove the contents from the home if you don't want to. Our job is to make the selling process as stress-free as possible. A common question we're asked is, how long does it take to receive an offer from an investor? Well, at Houston Capital Home Buyers, after we are contacted by a seller, we typically provide a written cash offer the same day or within 24 hours. What are the benefits of selling a property to an investment company like Houston Capital Home Buyers? You pay no fees versus the typical 6% paid to a realtor. You pay no closing costs versus the usual 1 to 2% paid by the seller, depending on which market you're in. No inspections and no financing contingencies. No appraisal needed. We make cash offers. No waiting for offers or dealing with showings. You choose the closing date. We can close in as few as 7 days. We pay for all repairs. That's right. You don't have to fix anything. We are a locally owned company. We are an accredited member of the Better Business Bureau. We have an A+ 5-star rating on the BBB and Google. We've been in business for over 13 years. We've purchased hundreds of homes over the years. We're a former law enforcement officer owned and operated company. We pride ourselves on integrity, transparency, and helping others. If you would like to talk about selling your property quickly to a company like ours, here's what that process looks like. Number 1, contact us and describe your property and situation. We'll visit your property to assess its value in order to make you the highest offer possible. We'll present a written offer within 24 hours and we'll be able to close quickly, typically 5 to 7 days. But we may not be the right fit for your situation. You see, our motto is that we can't buy every house, but we strive to help everyone that we can. So please, don't hesitate to reach out to us and we will do our best to see if we can help you in your situation. Consider us a free resource that you can simply pick up the phone and call, and we'll do our best to answer any questions you may have and point you in the right direction. We hope this overview of handling estate property has been helpful to you.